Trophy, trying his hand at Rotax. He lines up on row 6 with Jack Seffrey. Jack Seffrey in cart number 238. He's from the United Kingdom, driving the Formula K car. Peter Foulin is on row 7 with Oliver Norris. Antoine Bouton of France from Orléans in France raced with us for 9 of our 10 years. He's alongside Charlie Turner. Row 9, Randy Berglas and Nicolas Picot. And the top 20 is completed by Mark Lupfer and Karol Dabski. Max Renberg and Quentin Guerra are row 11. Sam Smelt and Ryu Hiruka row 12. Juuso Pukalainen and James Macken row 13. Tobias Holm and Alessandro Trombelli row 14. And the top 30 is competed by Sergei Munarev and Cécile Martini, another lady from France, on row 15. Behind them, Fabienne Earle and a third lady, Anastasia Teorina, are row 16, and David Richter completes the grid. Well, they're on their opening formation lap, so they've got themselves well spread. They'll be being compacted somewhat within the next moment or two, and when they go to grid, this 10-lap race will be called for you by my colleague Chris Hartley.
Right, we're just getting news through from Tiff in the pit lane that one driver's had to start at the back because he had mechanical assistance. It's 265, which is Kenny Marquez, the French driver. So Kenny Marquez, the French driver, having to start at the back because once the build up to the race begins, the last few minutes, they are not allowed to receive any assistance. And if they do, they have to start at the back. So that's been a slight change, late change to the starting order for this race.
Was going to line up on the 5th row, Chris, so that hurts. Sometimes when we get people on row 12 being put to the back, it doesn't make a lot of difference. But a row 5 programmed start and a last place actual start, not to be welcomed.
So Connor Jupp going so well. Already a second place finish for him today. Harry Webb, this is his first senior race in the Euro Rotax Challenge. He's pretty good, though, because he won the Junior Championship last year. So 2 British drivers at the front row of the grid. Carl Fowley, who just went back a little bit in the earlier race, but I still think he's got the pace to do well here. He's on row 2. Max Weinzierl on row 3. And then Eva Benes, who qualified well but had some troubles in the first race. See what she can do from the next row. She needs a good result here. And Glenn Van Paris is also on that 3rd row of the grid. Here they come then, Ken, rolling up towards what's going to be another frantic 10-lap race, no doubt.
Can't see this being anything but an absolute Brahma, Chris. Connor Jupp showed us what he can do. Harry Webb, we know what he can do. Behind them, some really good drivers. And once again, the lady from France, Eva Benes in cart 240 on the 3rd row, telling us all that, hey, I can mix it with these guys when I have to.
Here we go then. They come around the final turn. Ready for the rolling start. They look to be pretty neatly bunched together. They'll come towards you. When you look at them from the right side is Harry Webb in the green and white cart. And away we go. Good start. And then for Connor Jupp, he looks like he's got the lead of the race. Webb tucks in behind him. Jupp a little bit wide through the first corner, but he gets away with it. We've got 3-4 carts piled up at the first corner through the middle of the field. One running onto the grass as well, but all the front runners have escaped this drama, so no real dramas in amongst them. They continue now through turn 6, through this hairpin. Jupp, Webb, Fowley, the top 3. Weinzierl is next up. It's been a better start for Eva Benes as well there in 5th place, and in 6th position is Glenn Van Paris. So all of the top 6 really have kind of held station in this first half lap of the race. Through they come then towards the last sector, and right left through turns 10 into the turn 11 corner, which leads onto the back straight. And Connor Jupp, like he did in the first race, Connor Jupp has got a decent advantage early on, and there's some action here for second place because Webb has dropped behind Fowley. Has he not quite? No, Webb is just about hanging on to it still. Fowley is almost got his nose in front through the final turn, as Ken said, but under acceleration, Harry Webb got the second place back behind them. He's Max Weinzierl there, Dan Holland racing driver in the blue and yellow race suit. Into this hairpin they come. 2nd, 3rd and 4th tied together. Weinzierl looks up the inside now to try and get 3rd place away from Fowley, and he's done it. it, and Fowley gets clipped on the way past. His front wheels go off the ground. He loses traction and momentum, and he's going to lose another place because of that, with Foreman coming through as well to demote him further. So Eerie Foreman, who's been looking strong this weekend, and while all that's going on, it's pretty tight in amongst the leaders as they work their way through a slowing kart there, which almost got in the way of the race leader Connor Jupp and just had him hesitating on the throttle for a moment, which has allowed now Ken Harry Webb to suddenly close the gap somewhat.
Yeah, that was a moment when Connor Jupp could have really suffered, and the guy that was there, maybe he could have pulled himself well off the racing line, not to say go onto the grass. But mention of Harry Webb, I thought that was a really mature start that Harry made from the off-pole position. He didn't try to go for a big wide outside blast. He didn't hang around to slot in at round about third or fourth, but just having made the move, nipped in, and a change of lead have we got.
Yes, at the hairpin turn 6, but Connor Jupp is fighting back now. Down the inside he goes on the way into the next corner, and straight away he grabs the lead of the race back. So Connor Jupp and Harry Webb, these two Brits, having a real ding-dong race here already. Harry got the lead, but not for very long. And we've seen this already today from Connor Jupp, haven't we? He is not scared to have a go back. But Harry Webb with a late move on the brakes here. Towards the end of the lap, gets through into the right-hander. And that's not somewhere where we've seen too much overtaking so far today. It's a bit 50-50, but Harry determinedly made it stick. And he now leads the race with Connor Jupp second. And then an almighty scrap going on for third place here with Weinzierl, Foreman in the mix, Fowley and Pico all together.
Yes, and a nice move by Glenn Van Paris to drive himself into the top 10. Picked up a couple of places there. OK, it's only from 12th to 10th, but a beautiful piece of driving in traffic to cleanly pick up a couple of places by the Belgian. He gets into the top 10 at number 10. We're on lap 4 of a 10-lap race.
Yeah, you saw some moves just outside the top 6 there going through turn 6. We've got two more side by side here, sliding their way through the turn. There's the kart which has been stricken. That's 256, which is Anastasia Tyrunia, the Russian driver. Her kart parks up there right in front of one of the cameras. Here come the top two, Webb and Jupp still first and second, still covered by less than 0.2 of a second. Eerie Foreman is in third place. He started to edge away from the next group of karts. Weinzierl Fowley is back up now, so the Aberdeen-based driver, the former junior Scottish champion, back up into fourth place in this race. Pico is fifth and Cool is sixth. Turner is seventh, and the one that's dropped behind them all is Weinzierl. Weinzierl went backwards on that lap.
Yeah, I was trying to work that out, Chris. Just wondered if there'd been an incident, because Maxi Weinzierl looked strong when I last saw him in battle, but certainly spilt places there at the very lower end of the top 10.
Yeah, I think he was the one that just got bulked out at turn 6, and as you know, Ken, from watching these for the last 10 years, somebody comes past you and puts you off the racing line. It's very difficult to get back on track, isn't it? Because there's just a queue of nose-to-tail karts, and finding your way back on the racing line, you know, very often, if you lose one place, you end up losing 3 or 4.
Coming round then towards the end of the fifth lap, which will be the half race distance, and whilst Harry Webb has got the lead, and you would call it a comfortable lead, it's certainly not a decisive lead, because Connor Jupp is just closing now to within about 18 inches, under braking at turn 1, but nicely, cleanly driven by Harry Webb, and nice driving also by Connor Jupp, because here's a situation where he's not in a position to make a challenge, but he's keeping the pressure on. If Harry Webb can be prized out of his comfort zone, Connor Jupp going to do that. Third and fourth remains a fabulous battle. That's Eerie Foreman and Kyle Fowley dicing and trading places. Did they do a change there? Yeah. Yes, they did. Kyle Fowley from the far northeast of the United Kingdom. I think Boindy would be his nearest racetrack, and there's not an awful lot of top flight racing there anymore. And very, very impressed with this guy. First time I've seen him in the Rotax Euro Challenge, and I have to say it's a Brit I'm pleased to be seeing. Yeah,
Fowley getting in the groove now, isn't he? He started well, got bashed back a bit down the order, but he's fighting back here. The top two look absolutely together, but Harry Webb still hanging on to the lead of the race by a fraction from Connor Jupp. Then third and fourth, we've still got Kyle Fowley, and right behind him, as you say, is Eerie Foreman in fifth place. Then leading the next group of karts is the number 262 kart of Pico, and he's got them breathing down his neck. He's got 4 karts right behind him here. The fastest lap of the race has gone to Connor Jupp with a 55.629 second lap. So Connor has just set the fastest lap of the race, which is why he's suddenly right back onto the tail of Harry Webb. They're coming to the left-hander now, this hairpin, and through turn 8 they go, accelerating up the short straight towards us into the right-hander. I don't think he's close enough. This is where Harry Webb got the lead of the race a few laps ago. And then a little bit of action further back. Look, just outside the top 6. And it's what it is Max Weinzierl coming back up the order now, isn't it, I think? So Max Weinzierl bumped down the order, has
Maxi in 7th place at the end of 6 laps, but at the end of 7th it drops to 8th, so 2 places spilt by Maxi Weinzierl there. It's been a race of incident for Maxi Weinzierl, nothing overly dramatic, but he's lost places as a result of incidents. Still in the top 10 in 8th place, the Austrian, just in front of Karol Dabski. We've mentioned him yesterday as being a driver who's been with us previously in Unique Racing. Of course, now driving for a different team, kart number 241, which is Praga Racing. And Karol Dabski in the top 10. I always used to feel that one of these days Karol was going to absolutely explode. Chris?
Connor Jupp's just got the lead, but he's about to lose it again on the way to the next corner. He got it at the hairpin. It was a great move from Connor, but Harry Webb, he's very quick into that penultimate corner on the lap, isn't he? So straight away, Harry back into the lead. What a great scrap. And what's so impressive is they're fighting hard, but they're still quicker than the rest of the field. They're pulling away from them. Connor Jupp really late on the brakes to try and get past Harry Webb, but Harry using all his experience now to keep him at bay. So great scrap there between them. Fowley and Foreman, the gap growing between them. Fowley was a 10th quicker, so he's looking a bit more comfortable in 3rd place now as they run through towards turn 6.
Yes, and Ollie Norris pulling away a little bit. He's in front of Maxi Weinzierl, who goes up to 7th. Charlie Turner was the fastest driver at one time when he was in 8th place. Now we've got Antoine Bouton, the fastest driver, and he's not in the top 10. The driver from Orléans in France is in 13th place.
Here come your 2 leaders on the way into turn 10. Right, left, flick past the race control building into the 11th and final turn. On the brakes they go. Through, they turn right now, as you can see him on the screen, accelerating away. This is where Connor Jupp has been quick. They're about to go on to the final lap of the race.
Well, Harry Webb playing a little bit of a game of chess there. You saw him on screen glancing over his right shoulder. It's tempting to say you can be playing with fire, but he knew exactly in that sort of wine glass or parabolica type of move where he was going to position his kart. But that's fine, Harry, while it works. But if you give a gap to Connor, he'll dive through it. It's a drag to the end of the freeway straight, and Harry Webb still continues to hold the advantage, but Connor Jupp bidding to prize an opening where there isn't one. Chris, it's a grandstand finish you're going to call.
Yeah, fantastic. These two are going for the race win, and it's great to see. Connor Jupp desperate to get past Harry Webb, and 3rd and 4th are side by side as well as they come with just 2 corners to go, and they've caught right onto the tail of the race leaders. It's still Harry Foreman in 3rd place because he's got through now. His Jupp dropped back, in fact, and into 2nd place has come Fowley. So Fowley's up to 2nd place. The checkered flag comes down, and it's a win for Harry Webb. Fowley comes through. Great last lap for him to sneak through to 2nd place. And then Harry Foreman 3rd. And Connor Jupp, after all that trying to get through into the lead of the race, after leading at 2 or 3 points in the race, he ends up down in 4th place. And maybe that was just perhaps trying a bit too hard. Maybe, it's easy to say from up here in the box, but had they just followed each other round on that last lap, they'd have definitely finished 1st and 2nd, because 3rd and 4th wouldn't have caught them, would they?
Well, Chris, 2 points. The one that you made. One tiny, tiny, tiny error can have devastating consequences. It's not devastating from a certain 2nd to 4th, but he'll be bitterly disappointed. But the other thing, maybe just that tiny little bit of inexperience. Hey, this is my heat number 2 in a race day of 20 races, of which I've got 3 heats, pre-final and final tomorrow. I'm sure Connor to himself and in the awning will be saying, did I need to make that move when I did? But hey, how do you tell a racer not to race?
Well, exactly. But I do admire the way he went for the win. I mean, as a neutral, that's what we want to see. We don't want to see people following each other around. But we also understand that there's a very long way to go, and nobody scores a single championship point in these qualifying heats. It's about getting through, getting a decent grid for the pre-final. But that was Connor Jupp trying to stamp his authority, trying to say, I know you're the junior European champion, Harry Webb, but I'm going to take you on here. I'm not scared of you. And that was perhaps important, maybe even worth giving up those couple of places just to prove the point that Connor Jupp is a name we're going to have to watch here, the Dan Holland racing driver. So Harry Webb and Kyle Fowley, first and second. Some really good moves from Harry Webb in parts of the circuit we haven't seen anybody else overtaking, really. Half a second the difference between them. Kyle Fowley came back really well, didn't he, to get that second place. Hiri Foreman was third for Pro Train Racing, and then we had Jupp in fourth place in the end. I've been pretty impressed as well, just quietly going about his business, and in the top six once again is Michael Cool in kart 267, the Belgian driver, and rounding out the top six was number 254, which was Oliver Norris, another Brit there. You can see the back end of the field on screen at the moment. A bit disappointing for Ryo Haruka, not too sure what happened to him, but down in 25th place. Thought he might have gone a little better than that, maybe having a problem. And on the first lap of the race, we lost. You can see they're 10 laps behind, so they went out on lap 1. Randy Berglas from Switzerland, Anastasia Tyrina, and we also lost Sergei Munarev. So 3 drivers went out on the first lap. But again, a pretty decent rate of attrition, with most of them making it through. The grid there, you can see lined up for the next race, which is coming up in just a few minutes' time, and it'll be the last race before the